Hello, Facebook land. Happy Sunday. I made it to the studio, and as you may or may not can tell from the background, I've got a couple studio mates here, but we are practicing social distancing and washing our hands and stuff. Totally needed a change of scenery, so I thought I would come in and throw a few pots. I've got a few here in the background because I'm sick of being at home. Anyway, so I'm just going to demonstrate throwing a straight up cylinder because I couldn't decide what to do today. So here we go. So I've weighed out some clay. I've got a pound of clay, which is the standard size that I use for my mugs. And also I use the same size to make what I'm making today, which is what I call my summer cups or tumblers. So these are tall glasses that you can put in the fridge and drink cold drinks in, or just your favorite water glass. Anyways, hi John Carhart, glad you got back home. All right, here we go. So other thing I should show, hello Angela. Some of my tools that I use, so this is a very important tool. This is an undercut tool. I've got my homemade sponge on a stick, which is actually a sponge on a paintbrush. I've got my pointy tool. I've got this really nice straight edge tool. And I've got whatever, I can't remember the name of this right now, to measure the height of something, because I want to make my pots as consistent as possible, even though they're handmade. So calipers, that's what they are. Okay, here we go. And then I have a bit of upholstery sponge, and that's how I do it. So here we go. So I make sure my ball is all ready to go. I'm working on top of a bat right now, just because I don't want the metal rubbing against my hands. So here's my ball of clay. It's dry, although I just got it wet. I'm gonna smack it down in the middle. And here we go. So I get the wheel going almost at full speed. And the first part of throwing is centering. Now, if you are throwing or learning how to throw, this is an essential part of making a good pot, because if your clay is not centered on the wheel, it's going to end up wobbly, and it's just gonna cause you lots of grief later on in the throwing process. So basically what I'm doing is I'm coning up with my hands, and then I'm pushing the clay back down. And the idea here is to get all the clay particles, which are flat particles, they're like this, all lined up and happy and working in the same direction. So I'm coning up, and then I'm taking my hand and I'm pushing down into the other hand. So it's sort of like this movement. So while this hand's pushing down, this one's pushing in. Actually, the first step before you even get it to this point is actually wedging it and preparing it for the wheel. Okay. So I've got it on the center. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole down, and I use my thumbs to do this. It's nice doing these videos because I really miss, one of the things I miss now that I don't work with clay as much is teaching. And so actually one of the ideas I have for my new business is to teach. I used to do a week-long course of throwing boot camp, and I'm wondering if I could change that into something that we could do virtually. Thinking that people have home studios, or they can save the videos and watch them while they're in the studio. Anyways, it's an idea, so I thought if you think that's a great idea, let me know. Okay, so I've drilled in, and now I've done the first step, which is compressing the bottom. So basically dragging my hands across and pressing down on the bottom. The reason you do this step is because you want to make sure that the clay doesn't unwind while it's drying. And unfortunately, I'm feeling some air bubbles in there. Hello, Harvey. You can tell all the people what I'm doing wrong. I'm just kidding. Hi, missed you. I know Harvey from Medicine Hat, Alberta. Hi, Laura Lee. Okay, So I've got it on center. So the first step I do is to lift the clay into the body is I do what I call the claw method, and this was taught to me by Richard Fisher, where I basically am taking my fingers and I'm squeezing and pulling up like this. I like to do this first because I feel like it gets the clay, as much clay as possible, into the body. So I'm squeezing, and I'm also got my sponge and I'm pushing against the rim. And then compressing the rim. So it didn't go really far, but I did get the clay starting to go in an up direction. And even though this is going to be a straight cylinder, you can see it's quite narrow at the top and wider at the bottom, and that's okay because I'm going to continue to push it in, and I want to keep it as narrow as possible because if you want to make a straight cylinder, you can't start wide or it'll inevitably end up into being a bowl. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to push in at the bottom. So I don't know if you can see this, there's a little ledge there. I can't see because I'm seeing people's oh, that's awesome, Laurelie. I'm glad you can watch it all day. I could throw all day. There's a little ledge there, so that's important because I want to get my hand on the outside under that little ledge, and that's where all the clay is, and I'm going to squeeze and lift it up the body of the pot. And I have to tell you, I've been doing pottery for, I don't know, like 22 years or longer, probably longer than that, since 1997. Anyways, I can watch other people do this all day too. It always is interesting. Okay, so I've got that little ledge, and now I'm going to squeeze. I'm going to slow down the wheel a little bit so it's not going full speed, and I'm going to lift and squeeze between my fingers so my inside hand is slightly above my outside hand. And so you can see that it went up the body of the pot and it got taller. Yay! Success! Okay, so I'm going to go down again to the bottom because there's still a lot of clay there at the bottom. You can see the ones over there, they're much taller. All right, so I like to do this where I put my fingers on each side, and this allows me for water to go down the side of the pot. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to push, sorry, I'm going too fast. Push in at the bottom, and then I'm going to take this outside clay and I'm going to push between my fingers and lift. I have a little bit of a wobble, so I'm guessing that I probably didn't do a great job centering my clay to begin with. So I'm just going to get this. Oh yeah, it's really wobbling. Oh no! It's okay. Because you know what? Nobody's going to go and put your pot on a wheel and turn it. And if they do, you don't want that person having your pot. Because honestly, when I stop it, can you tell that it's wobbling? No. Okay, so we're going to go back down to the bottom again. Push it again. Okay. And then take that clay. You can see the lump move up as I'm going. I'm a little worried I'm going to lose this pot, so I'm lightening my pressure a little bit. And I'm thinking that is probably it. There's a little bit more clay at the bottom. Maybe I could get a little bit more out of it. No, that's it. Okay. So now I'm taking this, I'm gonna clean it up. I'm taking this tool here. This is a metal rib. So you can see it's kind of a funny shape. I think that's because I sort of gave up part way. So I'm gonna hold it up against the pot, and then I'm gonna press gently with the inside hand, and I'm gonna drag it up the pot. The reason I do this is because I'm gonna probably go in and make some impressions in it. And it's easier to do if the surface is clean. Also, the decorations I use, I want the surface to be flat so they stick very well. Hi, Brian. Hi, Monica. Monica! Oh, somebody else I met out west. Hi, Andrew. So who's all potters out there, or wannabe potters? I'm trying to think of a way of creating a class, especially now. I feel like people need stuff to do at home. If only there was something we could do. I know there's self-hardening clay, but then that means you have to get out there and get it. Anyways. And that's essentially my cup. So this is probably taking the longest it would normally take me. And then if you like the shape and you're happy with it, because these cups are not going to be trimmed, what I like to do is I like to put a little foot on it. So I don't know if you guys can see this. Hopefully it's not blocked. But I take my finger, I put one finger down, and I put one finger there, whoops, and I press in, and it creates like a little diversion there. So this is a little wobbly. Let's straighten it up a bit. Just to give it some definition as to where the foot is. And that's it. And then I take this undercut tool. Thanks, Harvey. I needed to get out for something different. I've been working from home all week and not really getting out except a bit at night for a walk, and I'm finding that I'm getting a little bit stir crazy. But finding that exercising, and I'm working on an online course, has been helping me keep sane, and also like cooking a lot, eating healthy. It's pretty wobbly, but I mean, it is what it is, right? So now, where is there it is. So then I have this great wire. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll try to move it closer. There we go. It's a wiggle wire. So then I take this and I'm gonna run it underneath. I'm gonna press my fingers right against the board, and I'm gonna also like move back and forth like in a zigzag. Because again, I'm not going to trim these, I'm just gonna roll the bottoms. So let's see if I can show you this. So that's what the bottom looks like. Cool, eh? Hi, Lori Fossum. Are you working in the studio too today? Anyways, and then I'm gonna pick it up. And then I'm just gonna take this extra clay off, and then I'm ready to work on the next one. So, hey, I miss you, Lori. What's going on? Lori is another friend that's in Edmonton, a potter. Oh, she's making pots at home. That's amazing. Yeah, I should take some clay at home so that I can do maybe some hand building at home. I think that's a great idea. Maybe some clay and a board. Anyways, that's it for now. Aw, thank you. Please give all your friends and family that you're isolating with a hug if you can, and I hope everybody's having a great day and making the most of what's a not awesome situation, but allows us a lot of time to think differently about how we work and what we do. Anyways, have a great day. Thanks for watching.